discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. Because the ayes have it, do have it, so ordered. Representative Hernandez, you're back on the bill as amended, please.
Mr. Chair and members, again, I have been working with the universities.
Actually, we're just moving.
I'm sorry.
We're moving the bill as amended.
Sorry. Mr. Chair, I move that when the Committee of the Whole rises to report, it recommends that House Bill 2880 as amended do pass.
Thank you.
Not sure if you could hear that, but I literally have a car next to me. I've got the roof off. Car next to me pulls up and the guy just completely belches when he gets out of the car. Crazy.
Arizona is a wildly beautiful place, brimming with over 100 brewing companies.
I'm Rob Fulmer, the Director of Government and Community Affairs for the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. I'm joined by Executive Director Andrew Baum.
Together we cover the state, bringing you the best of what's happening at our breweries and beyond. Welcome to Arizona Beer Frontier.
Today is going to be a different show that I will try to create in real time or as close as I can and still try and maintain the audio and video quality that hopefully you've been accustomed to. This, by the way, is an AI version of my voice, as I cannot effectively make the House of Representatives my own personal studio. Crazy, I know. It is the people's house, right?
Mr. Chair and members, again, I have been working with the universities.
Actually, we're just moving.
I'm sorry.
We're moving the bill as amended.
Sorry.
Learning that a couple of bills of interest were hitting the House floor, I headed down to the Capitol, monitoring a bill heard in the Committee of the Whole. I sat in the parking lot outside of Wesley Bolin Park, where there are many memorials depicting Arizona and U.S. history.
Good morning. Today is Wednesday, February 26th. This will air on the 27th, which is Thursday at midnight. We're going to try something a little different. Andrew, unfortunately, has been out for a couple days with the fever and some other symptoms that he developed towards the end of Beer Week. So we're not going to do our regular show. I thought I'd do something different as we have some things coming together here at the Capitol. We have a couple bills that are going to the floor that we've talked about in the past. One is the Craft Producers Bill, which unifies some festival language. It also has our minimum gallonage reduced from 5,000 gallons to 1,000 gallons. This bill is being run by Representative Weninger. Not sure if you could hear that, but I literally have a car next to me. I've got the roof off. Car next to me pulls up and the guy just completely belches when he gets out of the car. Crazy. Anyway, we have 2905, the Craft Producers Bill, which unifies some festival language. It also lowers the gallonage from 5,000 gallons to 1,000 gallons, which is the minimum production level a brewery has to sustain to retain their license. In the past, we've had a few people dip below it, but I think with the business model changing and distribution outlets becoming harder and harder, I think, as we have suggested, a lot of people are going back and improving their taproom experience and thus reducing the amount of beer they want to be able to sell. We have a lot of different models in Arizona. We have breweries that are in small rural areas. We have two in retirement homes. So this makes sense at this point. We're one of the few states that has that minimum. So we're reducing it from 5 to K to 1K. We don't have any opposition. It's kind of sailed through on the goodwill of Representative Weninger and our relationship, along with Gary's relationship from the Distillers Guild, sort of put this front and center, and even though we got it in a little bit late, he's fast-tracked it. So this is just being lifted by his reputation in the House. And, we tell a pretty good story about rural versus urban and big versus small. 10 years ago, we fought for the cap to be raised for our largest breweries. And here today, we're asking for the floor to be lowered so that we can continue to do business in Arizona. Today also we have a bill, HB 2578, which is the permission by the state to allow a memorial for Don Bolles, who is a journalist killed by a terrorist act. The crime remains unsolved, although they do have it narrowed down to a couple of organizations and individuals. Don was killed by a car bomb outside the Clarendon Hotel, and this has been a fight for a while. I expect this bill as our bill to pass, but we're here because that's why they play the games. That's why they play the games on Sunday. Right now I'm kind of listening to a bunch of floor speeches for this to get to the point of third read, which is the final vote in the House. It has to go through a bunch of processes, committees, often 2 committees, sometimes 3. The more committees you're assigned to, the less likely it's going to pass. I think there's something like 1,800 bills that are put out there a year, and about 300 of them pass. So to get it to this point is pretty remarkable in some ways. It also goes through a caucus process where each of the parties talk about the bills in private, although we do get some notes on those sessions once in a while. Then the process they're going through right now is they have several committees of whole where they discuss any number between 5 and 15 or 20 bills, and this is where the floor debate goes on. So right now they're on the committee of the whole. What are they on? Number 4?
Mr. Chairman, I move when the committee.
You can hear this. I'm watching the video down here.
Bill 2552 be read the best recommendation.
They're on committee of the whole 3. So they're just reading off the bills, and people can weigh in and explain why they support a bill, why they don't support a bill. And I might play some of that audio just so you get a sense of what that's like. And maybe we'll get the video on there. I don't know.
Thank you. Many discussion. Thank you. Ready?
So this is my setup here. Waiting here at Wesley Boland Park, where the memorial will go for Don Bolles. But just following along.
Name. Realize that, but you have so more than.
This is 2552 about hunting dogs. Now they're going to 2739 food products.
Generation HB 2552.
Cultivated cells and labeling.
He recommends the bill do pass.
Thank you. The chair will recognize Representative Wynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that when committee of the whole rises to report that House Bill 27.
So I have a little bit of a dilemma here in that I can sit here in my car and keep things charged, but I also have to start processing this video and getting it ready and marking the files that I need to get this moving today. Also, I need to do a little laptop work, make sure I got everything in order for what's going on. Once I get in there, I'm going to have to keep an ear and an eye on what's happening, thusly. And the problem is once I get in there, I don't want to use their Wi-Fi because it's terrible. And if I use my cell service, I'm going to go through 1 million gigs of bullshit. And right now, as you can hear,
Number 2.
everything seems to be glitching right now.
The cameras are back and running, so good luck. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
So I'm going to try to get inside, maybe sit in the balcony where it's a little cooler, or find a place to work, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, and another consideration here is I gotta, because it's the House, and the House has metal detectors, the Senate does not. I gotta start working on what's going in my bag, and got to go through the metal detectors, and I'm not wearing my belt buckle this time. But a lot of times you have to take your belt off, which is a pain in the ass. Yeah, this is one of at least 2 spots I know that there is an empty position for Don Bolles Memorial. There was a question about if we make this decision, will we have to make this decision for other places? I mean, that's what you got elected to do. That's the process. There's also some questions about content, and well, I can address that at another time, but there are definitely some monuments that have some very loose interpretations of what reality is. Here's a second location.
As I walk up to the house, I can spot the orange jumpsuits of inmates on release.
It's trustee day. Time for some outdoor time. Lawn and gardening work. They do a good job.
Getting through the metal detectors can be an ordeal, but the security is polite. Time to find a place to work.
Okay, I just realized I'd like to shoot a lot of B-roll, but I might have to use the AI narration because there's no way in hell I'm gonna find a nice quiet spot to do any voiceover stuff. This is one of the areas I work in. It seems quiet right now, so I'm gonna check it out. Balcony, see where they are at in the continue the whole process.
I take a quick peek at the gallery above the house floor. Some of the bills I followed with a passive ear were restrictions on oral abortion and a bill to change Arizona's method of capital punishment from lethal injection to firing squad. I was dismayed to learn that they added a 9th committee of the whole, and there are 99 bills on final read. Well, now I guess 7 bills were dropped. It's 2 p.m., and the best estimate to clear this number of bills is 5 hours. This might be a great time to read my letter to legislators. Go, AI Rob. Representative Wenninger. On behalf of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild, I am writing to express our strong support for HB 2905, a bill that modernizes and improves Arizona's liquor licensing laws. We are pleased to share that this bill has garnered support from key stakeholders in the industry, including the Beer and Wine Distributors of Arizona, the Arizona Craft Producers Association, and the Arizona Licensed Beverage Association. The bill has bipartisan support and faces no known opposition. We ask that HB 2905 be moved for a House vote as soon as possible. HB 2905, sponsored by Representative Wenninger, Legislative District 17, addresses 2 critical areas that will positively impact the craft beer industry in Arizona. Number 1, reducing the minimum production requirement for microbreweries. Arizona law requires microbreweries to produce a minimum of 5,000 gallons of beer annually after their first year of operation. This requirement places a significant burden on small and developing breweries, often hindering their growth and potential. Research from the Brewers Association indicates that the median brewery nationally takes 7 years to consistently exceed this 5,000 gallon threshold. HB 2905 proposes to reduce this minimum production requirement to 1,000 gallons annually, aligning Arizona with the majority of other states that do not impose such a restriction on microbreweries. This change would foster a more supportive environment for smaller breweries, allowing them to focus on innovation, quality, and creating jobs within their communities. Number 2, consolidating festival license provisions. Currently, festival licenses for different types of alcohol producers are spread across multiple sections of Title IV. HB 2905 consolidates these provisions into a single unified section, simplifying the law and ensuring consistency for all craft alcohol producers. This consolidation will make the licensing process more efficient and easier to navigate for all stakeholders in liquor department enforcement. Arizona's diverse craft brewery landscape. Arizona's craft breweries are uniquely positioned in our state's economy and community life. We are manufacturers, distributors, wholesalers, and hospitality providers, often operating distinctive bars and restaurants. Our breweries are located in diverse communities across the state, from small towns like Colorado City, Bisbee, Yuma, Eloy, and Pine Top Lakeside to larger cities like Tucson, Flagstaff, and Phoenix. We are hospitality community driven and committed to serving both local residents and visitors from around the world. HB 2905 recognizes the diversity and importance of Arizona's craft breweries. By reducing unnecessary regulatory burdens and streamlining licensing processes, this bill will empower our breweries to continue thriving, innovating, and contributing to the economic vitality of our communities. Just 10 years ago, this body overwhelmingly supported SB 1030 to help Arizona breweries propel our growth by lifting capricious gallonage caps. Today, we ask for relief on the minimum gallonage required by the state to assist rural breweries, farms, breweries, and the growing number of breweries in retirement communities. Our 140 brewery locations urge your support of HB 2905 to help ensure a brighter future for Arizona's craft beer industry. We battle many headwinds as small businesses. HB 2905 provides welcome relief. Thank you and cheers. Rob Fulmer, Director of Government and Community Affairs, Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. Not sure if I'm thrilled with AI, Rob. Seems a little punch drunk, and really HB 2905 20905. And here we go with the main event, our brewery bill.
House Bill 2905.
House Bill 2905, an act amending section 4203.02 ARS, repealing section 420411 and 420514, relating to liquor licensing.
You've heard the third reading of House Bill 2905. Those in favor, vote aye. Those opposed, vote nay. Do not vote until you hear the bell. The House will now proceed.
So, man, high things go through your head even when you count noses. In this case, I felt pretty good. You almost want a few no votes where you know what the member's political dogma is. We had 0 negative feedback in House and House Minority Caucus. That's where you can hear some of E comments and questions from the party. In this case, it was pretty clean. Representative Winiger has an excellent record here, and in the Minority Caucus, the comments are that liquor bills are vetted pretty well with our stakeholder group.
Mr. Speaker, permission to declare the vote. Please proceed.
There we go.
I already had to go see the bishop. I don't need to add to it. That's why I have to vote no for my.
This is the kind of no vote that you want. Lighthearted and inconsequential.
Members, by votes of 56 ayes, 1 nay, 3 not voting, you have passed House Bill 2905. Signed in open session. The clerk is instructed to record the action on House and appropriate the vote.
Okay, we're going to try this without a mic. We had a lot of stuff going on today. There was 92 bills heard. The one I wanted to talk, the one that I needed to hear at the end was the fifth last bill. So it's 7 o'clock. They're probably just finishing up a few more bills. But let's talk. There was a bill that I was personally sort of following, and it was sponsored by Representative Bliss. It is an all-text pre-admission screening cognitive impairment bill. Having gone through some issues with my mom, and I understand how difficult it can be to diagnose that. And this bill, which I believe got almost unanimous support, gave some more tools for families, and it takes both cognitive testing and function into consideration when diagnosing. I know a lot of people aren't on All-Tech, which is basically a program that you qualify if you no longer have the assets to be placed in long-term care. But this was a good bill, and it's one of those ones where every year I find a couple bills that I think are important and I like, and it kind of gives me faith in why we come down here, even if some of our issues seem trivial and silly, but there you have it. 2578 is the Don Bowles bill, which is also sponsored by
Representative Bliss. That passed. I think there was maybe I think there was 9 no's, which is surprising. I might play a little bit of the audio about why some of those votes that used to be no swung. It's still a good margin. There was the difficulty in that bill is it's opposed singularly by the Senate president. So we'll see what strategy we can come up with to get over that hump. Again, that was another bill that was personally important to me, but not part of the job. Let's get on to some of the liquor bills here. The most important one being our bill 2905. It passed with 1 no vote, and it was by Representative Blackman, who I believe voted for some pro-alcohol bills and sort of quipped that he needed to see his bishop and he wanted to make sure that he was going to be right with him. I didn't take offense to that. He and I have talked a little bit about a couple of other things. These bills at the end, a lot of times they're slam dunks, and there's a lot of, they've been here all day, and there's a lot of fatigue, and there's a little bit of blowing off steam, so I'll take it. There are other members, I think there was 3 members that didn't vote at all, and I think that's usually what you expect if someone is not pro-alcohol. So overall, a good day. We have a little bit of time before these get transmitted to the Senate, and we have to help our bill sponsor, Representative Weininger, be able to work with the Senate, and so we look forward to that. I think we should hear 1556, the hemp bill, probably next week. The House has to get their business done early and transmit to the Senate. The Senate has a little bit more time, but this is the beginning of crossover week where bills have to be passed in their own body, and then they can be moved. So kind of a stressful time. I'm going to try to finish this video. You know what? I'm going to go have a drink over at the Clarendon, where there is a bust of Don Bolles, and maybe I'll talk to you a little bit later then. But I do need to get this wrapped up and posted. I've got about 15 minutes. This would be a short cast, but I think I jammed a lot of video and tried to get this all done in one day as I am in the process here at the state capitol.
I had a Guinness at the Clarendon Hotel where a bust commemorates Don Bolles. The plaque reads, Don Bolles, July 10, 1928, June 13, 1976. Don Bolles strode into the Hotel Clarendon shortly before noon on June 2, 1976, to track down a story. An investigative reporter with the Arizona Republic, Bolles had arranged to meet a source in the lobby. When the informant didn't show, Bolles returned to his Datsun and was blown up by a car bomb, detonated by a killer with a remote control. Although a small handful of men went to prison for his death, the person who ordered the assassination was never prosecuted. Because Bolles wrote about political and white-collar corruption, mob influence in the racing industry, land fraud, and organized crime's expansion into the desert, the list of suspects was extensive. After a heroic fight and repeated surgeries, Bolles passed away from his injuries on June 13th, 1976. His murder and the unanswered questions surrounding the homicide shamed his colleagues, law enforcement in the state of Arizona.
Hey, thanks for watching and listening. This is on YouTube. It's not very clear from the audio. Maybe some of the visuals will help. It's been kind of an experiment. It's basically taken 12 hours to get 24 minutes as I edited in real time on Premiere Pro. So I'm going to have another adult beverage. And this is not a beer podcast. This is a podcast about beer. And sometimes the beer finds you. And sometimes you have a glass of whiskey with the bust of Don Bolles. Cheers.